Yep, good to go.
All right, let's call the order, the Lisbon Village Board meeting on May 12th, 2020.
13.
Yeah, that's 13. At 6:30, roll call, please.
President Gerke,
Here.
trustee Moonen,
Here.
trustee Baum,
Here.
trustee Quinn,
Here.
trustee Beal,
Here.
treasurer Gerard,
Here.
park supervisor Lund, administrator Green, and clerk Capazzo to record the minutes.
All right, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's item 3, our citizen comments. No one from the audience wishes to speak tonight. Is there anyone on Zoom?
We do have one applicant on Zoom, but that will be addressed later in the agenda.
All right, so move on to item 4 then, which is the consent agenda.
I do have one correction to the April 8th Village Board minutes. I inadvertently switched the names of who made 2 of the motions on there. So I would like to correct those to be motion by Baum, second by Moonen to adopt ordinance 2026-05. And then adjournment should have been motion by Beal, second by Moonen. So I request that those are approved subject to correction.
All right, is there a motion on the consent agenda with those changes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. That motion carries 5-0. Item 5A is to authorize payment of the one-click bills dated April 24th in the amount of $2,134.66. Is there a motion on this item? I'll move. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0. Item 5B is to authorize payment of the remaining bills dated April 24th in the amount of $687,141.11 and May 8th in the amount of $241,052.83.
Top 5 expenditures for April 24th bills is $187,179.67 with the Milwaukee, $149,270.70 to U.S. Bancorp, $146,150.26 to Village of Sussex, $80,472.88 to Auction County Treasurer, $27,704.33 to Kunkel Engineering. Top 5 expenditures for May 8th bills, $97,516.08 to Auction County Treasurer, $29,873.06 building inspections, $25,113.93 to Kunkel Engineering, $19,451.60 to Hamilton High School, and $9,537.60 Muni Law.
Any questions or any discussion?
I'm just curious what the odor control chemical is for.
Richmond School Lift Station.
Oh, for the sewer stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So you ready for a motion then?
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the remaining bills.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
All right, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. We went so fast there early on. We did approve your item already, so you're welcome to stay for the rest of the night, obviously, or as long as you want. But I just want to make sure you didn't. We think we. All right. So item 6 is announcements and correspondence. Memorial Day, the Village Hall will be closed. Public Works and Utility Committee meets on Wednesday, May 27th at the Richard Young Fire Station at 5 o'clock. That'll be followed by the joint Plan Commission Public Works Village Board meeting on the at 5:30 or immediately after the Public Works and Utility Committee meeting. And that's a full, all three bodies meeting. And then after that meeting, we will have the Plan Commission meeting scheduled to start at 6:30 or after the other earlier meetings. Board of Review will meet on June 3rd at 6 o'clock at the Richard Young Fire Station for at least 2 hours. The Parks Committee will meet here in a month on June 10th, starting at 5 o'clock. And our next village board meeting here is on June 10th at 6:30. Is there any other announcements or correspondence to note? All right, we'll move on to the administrator's report, Dan.
Just a few updates. The village has purchased new hard drives for our existing NAS unit. So the village's backup storage is at its maximum, so we need to upgrade our storage space so that we have enough room for backup. Those types of things, so those have been purchased and will be installed. I'll be working with one click on that, so. Just in case everyone wasn't aware, the village hall and the 9/11 memorial was tagged on Friday night or Saturday morning. The 9/11 memorial and the village hall were able to get cleaned up for the most part. There's still some minor cosmetic issues that we're hopefully going to get resolved over the next couple of weeks, but I think the crew did, Nick and Scott did a great job cleaning everything up. They were able to use like a baking soda agent in their pressure washer to get everything out, so that's great on them. And then village staff have been working with our insurance company MPIC to get quotes and repairs done on the parks, some of the park pavilions that have some roof damage to tornado still. And the Public Works building also has some masonry caps that need to be replaced, so we have somebody looking into getting costs for that. Our deductible is $1,000 for the entirety of the damage, so and MPIC was on the spot, really quick to respond, so that's all going well. And that's
Any chance you might find out who did the damage by looking at maybe cameras, or whatever?
we're still working with the Washington County Sheriff's Department on that, so we're gonna give them as much information as we can and hopefully.
How sad, how terrible.
Any other questions on the administrator's report? Move on to Natasha on the treasurer's report.
Allow me to start off with tax and workload updates before moving on to the financials. Tax settlements are completed for January, February, and April. Lisa helped with tax refund check runs in January and February. The August tax credit settle is remaining, received 80% of tax revenues as of April. During the high bank balance tax months of December, January, and February, we earned 3.7 to 3.82%. That is down from 4.39 to 4.72% last year. The year-end journal entries were done in January and February in preparation for audit in March. Form C was submitted last week before the May 15th DOR deadline. Accounts receivable is current in terms of aging accounts. There are no outstanding past due invoices. Big accomplishment there. All 2025 fire fees are paid as of May. And then we will work on billing 2026 fire fees this summer. The TID annual report deadline is July 1st, and I plan to submit that in June. So moving on to the treasurer reports, both follow the credit card statements. I'll speak to the summary and then the back page of the investments, and as always, those detailed reports are included as an FYI. So starting off at the top with revenues, as of the end of March, we received 64% of our budgeted revenues. 69% is gonna include the transfers in from the land sale, so that's down in the middle of the page under other financing sources. Key callouts are taxes and garbage special charges from the tax roll along with investment income. To note, the miscellaneous category there includes accounts receivable penalties and credit card quarterly rebate monies, along with a $40,000 baseball field donation. Upcoming 2026 revenues are down at the bottom of the page. Approximately 1.8 million in aids and tax revenues, so those are detailed for you. Moving on to expenditures, total expenditures account for 18% of the budget as of March 31st. And then if you include the capital we levied for in the general fund and that transfer to debt, then we're at 27%. So you can see those transfers down under in the middle again under other financing uses. Then the upcoming debt payments, so those are featured, you can see the principal versus interest, that takes us through year end. Let's move on to investments, so backside of the page, the total investments highlighted right in the middle of the page for you at 16.4 million. Total interest earned for Q1 includes the utility accounts, that's just over 186,000. Interest income is 21,000 less than Q1 last year. So current rates are less than 4%, down from over 4% last year. Notice we're more in line with Q1 of 2024, which I listed out. A CD update, the rates negotiated were higher than the 2-year Treasury yield benchmark of 3.5% at the time of renewal. So those are all over that benchmark, which is great. Money market rates are still matching LGIP following the 1-month lag. And just quickly regarding rates overall, the Fed's rate held for the last 3 meetings at 3.5 to 3.75%. December 2025 was the last rate cut. Rate cuts are no longer forecasted in 2026 due to market volatility regarding tariffs and supply shocks with oil prices, etc. Of course, I will always keep you updated on rate discussions as they relate to investment income. And just to note, despite rate decreases since last year, we're at 60% of our budgeted revenue for interest income as of April 30th. Due to the lack of those rate cuts that were projected and budgeted for this year. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thank you for doing a good job. Thank you.
You can always email me with questions as well.
Thanks, Donna.
The January being higher than the other years, is that just because we've got probably more tax payments in January than we typically did?
So yeah, it sometimes there's that lag in December versus January when the ACH hits and when December 31st is of what date that falls on as well.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the auditor's reports. Presentation report from Wendy Unger at Baker Tilly regarding the 2025 financial position.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Wendy Unger. I'm the principal responsible for the village's audit. You should have in front of you, I see the bond documents. You should also have a handout that looks similar to this. And that is what I will use to go through both of those documents at a relatively high level. So on the first page of the handout, highlighted the audit results. The objective of the audit was to issue an opinion. We've done that. We've included a clean, unmodified opinion, highest level of assurance you can obtain from us as your auditors. That is the same type of opinion you've received in the past. The only thing I would draw your attention to, if you're somebody that compares year-over-year report, there is an emphasis of matters paragraph included in that opinion for this year due to the implementation of a new governmental accounting standard, or a GASB 100. And really all that GASB 100 did was change how the funds are presented in the financials and an additional footnote disclosure. So just wanted to note that in case there's somebody that does that comparison. On the next page of the handout is where I highlighted some very high level financial information. I'm gonna go through this relatively quickly, but please feel free to stop me if you do have any questions. The first column there is your general fund, your day-to-day operating fund. When we look at the general fund activity, we want to look at that in comparison to budget. You had a little bit over 9 million of revenue compared to an $8.4 million budget. So you were $600,000 over budget in your revenue category. Very favorable position. Lots of different reasons, but the largest contributing factors to that, ambulance revenue was $60,000 more than budgeted. Fire inspection fees were $25,000 more. Investment income was $173,000 more than budget. And then you had some property sales during 25. You sold some fire equipment and the plow truck, and that was another $184,000 that was not anticipated at the time of budgeting. So again, very strong revenue results for the year. When we look at the expenditure side, $8.6 million of actual compared to an $8.4 million budget. So you were over budget in your expenditure. So that is called an unfavorable variance. And really the main two reasons for that, most of that is the adjustment for the ambulance write-offs, $170,000 more than budget. And then there was the other largest contributor was $22,000 variance in fire related to contracted service, the contract payment and some maintenance costs. So again, when you put together your 25 budget, you budgeted to break even. You budgeted to add nothing to fund balance. You actually added almost 400,000 to fund balance during the year and ended the year at 8.9 million fund balance in your general fund. Now I caution you that is not all spendable money. As you can see in the bottom portion of that, 2.7 million is referred to as non-spendable. Those are monies that have been utilized or given to TID1 to help cover and cash flow until they generate enough increment to pay their own bills. So again, we pull that out because it's not cash that the general fund has. So we pull that out. The remaining portion, 6.2 million, is your unassigned. This is your working capital contingencies, allows you some flexibility in doing some one-time capital items or anything of that nature without having to go to borrow at that immediate point in time. Very strong financial position in your general fund. Very good year, good results, and again, a lot of opportunity there to utilize those funds in the future. The next column is your ARPA fund. If you remember, you received ARPA funds several years ago. You received it in 2 tranches, and it was available for spending over the last several years. During 25, $205,000 were recognized as revenue. $222,000 was recognized as expenditures, and that was actually money that went over to the general fund to help cover costs that the general fund incurred. That fund has no fund balance at the end of the year, which it technically should not. You do, however, still have $200 of ARPA to spend, and those have to be spent by the end of this year or they are returned. So just wanted to mention that. The next columns, the quarry, the Lisbon Quarry Fund, 619,000 of revenue. 560,000 of that came through from land and stone. The rest of that is mainly investment income. You spent 128,000 of those monies, and that was on the water extension to the well. Some engineering and consulting costs during 25. You added almost 500,000 to fund balance and had over 2 million in that fund as of the end of the year. The next comes your debt service fund, and that is exactly what it sounds like. You levy a tax and you pay principal and interest on village debt. 1.5 million of revenue, again, taxes, and then there is a smaller portion that comes in from the TID to cover their share of the debt service. You paid 1.6 million and had a deficit at the end of the year, 114,000, and that's something to look at covering in 26. The capital fund or capital project fund, $1 million of revenue. Keeping in mind that a good portion of that's the fund where your sinking fund sits. So you transfer in over $700,000 on an annual basis for future capital costs. So 862,000 of that million is transfers in from the general fund and the building fund. and then some developer payments of $82,000. You spent $1.27 million during the year. $536,000 was on highway equipment and street projects, $126,000 on parks, and $604,000 on fire department equipment. So overall, the capital project fund used $223,000 of fund balance and ended the year at $1.3 million. The next column is the TID, $599,000 of revenue. Most of that is increment, $563,000. There's another portion of that comes in for the shortfall on the value of that TID. $334,000 of expenditures. Again, portion of that went over to the general fund and debt service funds. Ultimately, you add it, so you're improving the deficit position in that fund by $265,000 and ended the year at $2.9 million of deficit. The last column presented here is titled non-major funds, and this can be found in your audited statements on page 47. The village, in addition to the funds we just spoke about, has 6 additional funds, more limited in activity, so they get combined in the statements. The only item I would highlight there is that most of that fund balance of the $692,000 of fund balance, $348,000 is in your park fund, and $207,000 is in your building fund. So that is the main activity, or the main portions of that balance. On the next, could you repeat that again? I'm sorry, which part? What's in the park? $348,000 and $207 in the building fund. $207,000, and again, there's more detail on page 47 of your audit. Okay, thank you. On the next page, the last page that I've highlighted, some financial information. These are the remaining funds of the village, and these follow a different accounting methodology, so we pull these out separate. And if you're looking, if you're looking in your booklet, it's not the one with the solid green color, it's the one with the little swirl. But on this page, I've highlighted summarized the stormwater fund and sewer fund. Starting with stormwater, $257,000 of operating revenues. These are the user fees that go on to tax bills. Those were up slightly over the previous year by roughly $5,000. $217,000 of expenses. Those were up about $12,000 over the previous year due to some culvert materials, and then some increase in salary and benefits of roughly $4,600. Investment income in that fund was $18,000. Overall, that fund added $57,000 in that position, and that compares to a $74,000 addition in the previous year. So relatively comparable. That fund ended the year at $1.8 million of net position. Keep in mind, that position is not fund balance. It includes all of the assets and the infrastructure, so it's a very large number when you put it in relation to fund balance. But I will say that stormwater ended the year at $650,000 of cash. All of that is unrestricted, and cash position increased by almost $65,000 in 2025. The last column here is the sewer fund, $411,000 of revenue, relatively consistent with previous years. $824,000 of expenses. Depreciation saw a small uptick over the previous year of roughly $15,000, but the largest increase in expenses was $253,000 total, which most of that was the rehab project of the village of Sussex. Again, that fund also had investment income, $44,000, some miscellaneous revenues that flowed through, some capital contributions. So these are actual donated assets. So it's not something you pay for, but something that is donated to the fund from developers. This is the Business Park East metering system. So that comes in, it gets recognized as an asset in the sewer fund, and an offsetting revenue is recorded. So overall, the sewer fund had a decrease in that position of $291,000, and that compares to essentially a break-even year in 24. Added a small $1,500 to net position. Net position ended at $3.4 million. That fund saw a $270,000 decrease in cash and ended the year with roughly $273,000 of unrestricted cash and $596,000 of restricted cash, which is the equipment replacement fund that is required to be maintained per DNR requirements. On the last page, yes,
Where does it show on here that the district, that the sewer utility paid for the upgrade? Where is that in here for the sewer? Is that the sewer fund?
it is included in the figure, the $824,000.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's included in there. There's nowhere in the statements is there a line by line detail. But
Okay.
that would be something we could provide like off a trial balance or something of that.
Sure.
And Natasha would have.
So that's why it's lower. That's why.
That definitely helped. I mean, we needed to use cash to pay for that and ultimately.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. On the last page or the next page of the presentation is really just a couple bullet points of the highlights of the other documents. So the one with the solid green cover, which is our reporting and insights document. We use that to really communicate anything that we need to under our standards. We have certain things that we need to include. As I noted here, continue to include a material weakness because we, as your auditors, become part of your internal control structure because we prepare the audited statements. Not unusual or uncommon. It's not new for the village, and it is not, again, unusual or uncommon for most governmental entities to have that type of material weakness. Also included in that document, we summarize new governmental accounting standards or GASBs that will be effective in the upcoming years. There are 3 of them. 103, which will be effective for 26, will have impact on the village, but really more on the content of the statements, not necessarily how you account for anything. So we'll make sure we work with Dan and Natasha to make sure that the village is in a position to implement as needed. And then the last thing I would just highlight in that document is there is some required communication. It starts about the middle of the booklet. And that is really just required communication that we need to have with you. Nothing unusual or unexpected in there. The only thing I would highlight and just remind the board is that there are estimates that are included within your statements. Not everything is an exact science. So just reminding you that pension, you have a pension liability that's included in the booklet based on actuarial assumptions, depreciation, which is based on estimated useful life and amortized over a straight line period. You have some compensated absences, and again, estimating those at a current dollar value of attorneys, not knowing when they will be used, and then your allowance for doubtful accounts related to your receivables. So again, just want to highlight that, but again, nothing else unexpected or unusual in there. On the very last page of the handout, I have included my email address, my direct line. Please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to speak with any of you in more detail, go through what we do, what we don't do, answer any questions you may have. But I'd also be happy to try to answer any questions you may have now.
I've got just a couple. So, and Natasha and Dan, feel free to jump in if I'm asking a question that I might be not. Okay, so on the ARPA funds, you said we have $290,000 left that needed to be spent. I thought we had a little bit less than that, or do we budget a little bit less than that? Are we positive on that number?
I don't remember exactly the number that we budgeted. I know that we had used it all.
So if it's not
This year,
budgeted,
so.
it'll still get counted to be, it'll be,
What was reported to the Department of Treasury as the amount of money we had left, I reported as being spent on the remainder of the baseball diamond and on the fire
Fire, I knew-
contract.
okay.
So those we'll work out with Natasha to make sure those journal entries are done to show that those expenses occurred, so.
Okay.
The number might vary a little bit from the audited amount because they were unaudited numbers that we were going based off of the budget for this year, so. But it agreed.
I would also mention that in that ARPA fund, there had been an accumulation of interest at one point in time. So there were some additional funds that were also included in there that were ultimately removed in 25. So we took those out as being used, which those can be used for anything. So that brought that fund down to zero, so there may be more there because there were other interest earnings that were used for some of those costs.
Okay. The debt service fund. You mentioned that needs to be covered. Do we be accounting for that appropriately in our budget?
Yeah, I think the issue is it didn't show the transfer that we had initially. For the clean water fund, so there was actually a balance in the beginning of the year. Which is why, so the clean water fund was in 127,000 or something like that.
140.
140, and then there was, I think, an $18,000 balance, so because that transfer wasn't done, it's showing 114,000 in the red. It's not, we'll manage the 2026 budget or do a budget amendment to get that to zero.
Okay.
At some point, but it's.
And then-
Hopefully I explained that right, and does that make sense, Wendy? Okay.
And the last question on the park, is the park fund, that's the same with the park impact fees on the final column. And the major government funds, you said that of the 692,000, that 348,000 or so were the park fund, those are impact fees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Park fund.
So I think we previously thought it was closer to that 305 number, so it's actually, we're comfortable, it's the 348.
And since it's those impact fees, that's why it's showing up as restricted. Like
Just
if you look
Right,
on
right,
page 47
right,
of the book,
right.
it's showing up as restricted.
And there is other activity though that is in that fund. I mean, again, it does have some investment income and has some other miscellaneous type income. So again, there's
Okay,
other things that
right.
are factored
I mean,
into it.
I'm happy that it's a higher amount than a lower amount, so that we're good there.
on the building fund, I think she had put, Wendy had mentioned 206,000 as the fund ending balance. That's due to a transfer that we had in the books for those plyo vents that we're still anticipating, but hasn't been. We have not spent yet, so technically that number is probably 137,500 higher if we don't get those vents or if we get them approved through a grant.
But that 137 is now sitting in capital.
It is sitting in
So it'll-
capital
we
currently,
have to-
so we have to go bring it back if we don't.
Exactly. Yep.
All I had,
You asked my question, sounds good.
Relating to Matt's first question, I'm drawing from the reporting and insights book, page 22. What is the first line? It says to recognize ARPA revenue, 105,000.
So what happened was, or what happens is when those monies came in. That all sits on your balance sheet. So it comes in as cash and it sits as what's referred to as an unearned revenue. Because you haven't spent it yet, so you really haven't technically earned it. As you make these spend down, that comes out of the liability, the unearned revenue, and comes in as revenue. So that entry was just to make that movement
Oh.
out of the unearned into the actual revenue for the year.
So it doesn't correlate to the 225 on the summary sheet? The page.
No, because there was an additional $17,000 of fund balance in there that was used during the year, plus the
Okay.
205.
All right, makes sense.
Gotcha.
It just didn't matter for me, so.
and if we do have follow-up questions, we said we can certainly reach out to you later.
Definitely.
Okay.
Happy to talk through any.
We all set then? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we go a little bit out of order here and move on to
Yes.
11A?
Sure.
Well, but that way we don't keep you for another hour or so. Well, I mean, not, maybe it's only 20 minutes. I don't know, Mike, whatever, sorry.
I am ready, good to go.
All right, so 11A is the resolution 2026 -03, providing for the sale of approximately 4.12 million in general obligation promissory notes, series 2026A.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Schmidt. I'm a municipal advisor with Ellers. Work closely alongside John Cameron. So tonight we're going to go through the pre-sale report that is in your packet. Front page looks like this. You're looking for reference material you're looking for maybe. There's a lot of detail in here. I'm going to hit on the highlights of the narrative, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail on the tables there. Sure. But please feel free to ask questions along the way. So as you've noted, this is for a proposed issuance of $4.12 million of general obligation promissory notes. You will know the last time that you were in the open securities market, you were a town, so there were slightly different regulations at that point. Since that time, not only have you incorporated, but additionally, there has been legislative changes to what classifies general obligation promissory notes versus general obligation bonds. You are now able to issue notes in a term of up to 20 years. Therefore, most municipalities are no longer issuing bonds. Notes give you much more flexibility where you can reuse purposes. So if you initially plan to use a portion for parks and thereafter you don't spend it all, you can repurpose a portion of that for other projects as long as they're public purposes. The term is only 5 years. So while you're able to go up to 20, we've been directed to only issue this for a 5-year term, but just wanted you to know that that is changed since you were last in the market. Purpose for this issue is for a variety of public projects, including the park improvement project, bridge construction, capital improvement, and then some contingency costs for some road projects. All of the debt service will be repaid by the tax levy. You are legally limited in terms of how much general obligation debt you can have outstanding. That limit is equivalent to 5% of your total equalized value of the village. Following issuance of these notes, you'll be at about $8.5 million, which is about 7% of that total limit. Therefore, you have about $109,000 still in residual capacity for future issuance. So you're in a very.
190 million.
What was that?
Million.
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, 108 million. Sorry about that. So like I said, this is a term of 5 years. Since you're issuing no more than $10 million of debt, the debt will be issued as bank qualified, which will get you a little bit better interest rates in the market. Additionally, the village is currently rated AA2 with Moody's, so we will seek a rating again on this issue that is scheduled for next week, Tuesday. I'm going to skip through a couple pages here and bring us to page 5, which hits on the summary of times here. So this is the first step in the process in which what we call the set sale resolution is before you. Really, all that is saying is that we agree with the plan and we do want to go to market. So that means that we will proceed forward with preparing your official statement. And then on sale date, June 10th, we will go to market for bids. Thereafter, once we receive the winning bid, we will return that evening to present the formal sale resolution to you all, which would be before you for consideration to formally award the bid. Between now and that time, there's a few details that'll have to occur. There's a due diligence call with Quarles and Brady, who serves as the village's bond counsel. There's also that meeting with the rating agency that's occurring next week. And then about a week before the sale, we'll distribute that official statement or your formal offering document. So we'll make sure all of that is buttoned up before we get ready to go to market for underwriters to bid on June 10th. Thereafter, assuming you award the sale on June 10th, the closing date will be June 30th. So about 3 weeks after the sale is when you'll actually receive the funds. Any questions on the process before I get into the financial details? All right, turning to table 1. This really takes a look at your existing general obligation debt profile prior to issuing this new debt. So if you take a look on the left-hand side, you'll see that column that says total GO debt payments. You can see as of 2026, you have about $1.5 million of GO debt payments due. That is mostly supported by the levy. However, there is about $145,000 that is paid in by tip number 1. That therefore leaves your net tax levy for debt service to be about $1.34 million in 2026, which is equivalent with the amount that you budgeted for in your 2026 budget. You will see in 2027, if no additional debt is issued, your tax levy will drop quite a bit, substantially by almost $1 million. That therefore gives you the opportunity to issue new debt, layer in those new debt service payments without requiring your tax levy to go up substantially to do so. So this is really what we call the opportunity to layer in level debt service, meaning you could continue to issue more debt without feeling a tax burden on your taxpayers. So we really try to be strategic in how we structure that debt to build in future drops like that. So that when we plan to issue new debt in the future, you have that same opportunity to do so. And I'll talk about what the structure looks like in a couple of tables here. Turning to table 2. This is really the sizing of the proposed issue before you finish. So of the roughly $4 million of projects, it shows you here the line item breakout of how much is for each of the projects that we talked about. Now the middle section of the
Okay,
page.
just while you're there, so you said this is less important than it used to be then, the breakdown, because of the type of issuance?
Oh, correct. So you can repurpose these costs as you need, as long as they're still public purposes. So for example, that proportion, the $2.2 million of park projects, let's say they come in at $1.8 million and you have $400,000 extra than what you had thought. You can now repurpose that towards a street project or add additional funds to the bridge project, whatever that may be.
Okay, all right.
So then the middle section is your cost of issuance with going to market. There's a variety of key players that go into making this all happen, help you to create your official statement, which is your formal offering document that goes out in the market. So all of those key players are associated with here. Your cost of issuance is paid for with the debt proceeds on the day of closing. We have assumed some estimated interest earnings between the point in which you receive the funds and the point in which you spend down those proceeds. And that's what gets you to your net sizing of the $4.12 million. Next, moving on to table 3. This is the proposed structure of the issue. This will change slightly on sale day, but this is what we will offer to the underwriting market. They will then take a look at it and provide us with their proposed analysis. Typically, it may shift to maturity slightly. But again, really what we're striving to achieve is to capture those drops in your tax levy. So we can layer in this debt in a strategic manner in which your net tax levy for debt service does not increase substantially. So what that means in terms of the tax impact is reflected on table 4. On the left-hand side in blue is that existing debt profile. So exact same table you saw at the beginning in table 1. On the right-hand side is now taking that existing tax structure and incorporating this new debt issuance. So you'll see about halfway through the page, first column in orange, that is your new proposed debt service payments with principal and interest. Directly to the right of that, where it says total net debt service levy, you'll see from 2026 to 2027, it now moves from 1.3 million to about 1.37 million. So it increases by about $30,000. Upon discussion with staff, it was our understanding that we wanted to really achieve a 2 to 3% increase in the net tax levy over the next 3 years. So that's why we've structured it the way that we have, again, capitalizing on the opportunity to issue larger maturities sooner, which therefore also save you in interest. So we've got your tax levy going up about $30,000 over the next 3 years. And then come 2030, you'll notice that tax levy starts to drop again by almost $500,000. That is in part with the assumption that if you plan to issue new debt again around 2029, therefore in 2030, when your first payment is due, you can layer in $500,000 of new payments without having to see your tax levy increase. Does that make sense? Are there any questions on that proposed structure?
So the tax rate, that assumes a 2.5% annual increase in the assessed value.
Note the 2.5% increase is how much additional debt service levy you'll be having in total each year. So I can walk through.
Right, no, but the next column for taxes and on the average on a house, it doesn't increase by that 2.5%. It actually drops a little bit.
Right, because we also do have an inflator built in there for an increase in equalized valuation.
Okay, and that's what I was getting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what mitigates it. I apologize. I thought you were talking about 2.5% increase. So yeah, so for in this case, a sample home that's about $313,000, they would not see that same increase on their sample tax bill. In this case, only looking at the portion of the tax levy that is allocated to the debt service payment, right? This isn't your total tax bill. This isn't incorporating the other taxing jurisdictions. This is just the portion that you budget for your debt service levy.
And that makes sense, because that's what we were trying to aim for, was you know. Even though it's increasing by 2.5-ish%, that after the natural growth, there wouldn't be a effective growth
Right.
on existing houses, so.
Yeah, it keeps the impact level to a actual taxpayer, correct? And then lastly, table 5 just visualizes what I spoke to earlier regarding your general obligation debt capacity. Showing again that you only are at about 7% max of your total limit that you can utilize. Obviously, as your debt amortizes year over year, that percentage therefore decreases, increasing your capacity greater. But based on this plan, you would have no additional debt service payments following 2030 unless you issue new debt prior to that point. Are there any other questions or comments I can help answer?
We have the resolution that's proposed.
The back page of your packet of materials.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So there's more questions? Are we ready for a motion on the resolution?
She did a great job.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-03, approving approximately 4.12 million in general obligation promissory notes.
I'll second.
Is there any additional discussion? It's hearing none, all those in. Do you have anything to add?
I was just gonna say congratulations that this is our first village promissory note approval, so.
Let them vote first.
I'm just saying, it's your first note, so congratulations.
All right, so hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Yes, thank you. Mike, are you gonna stick around for the whole meeting, or you're gonna leave probably after? Should we
Probably gonna leave it.
let's circle, everyone's fine circling back to
Finish unfinished.
yes, yeah. So 10 A is discussion and necessary action regarding the conceptual park plan options. Dan, you want me to jump in, or you want me to start?
So I provided a request for consideration in your packet that just kind of outlines some very broad ideas for what we can do for fundraising or raising money for the park project. We did have a good discussion with Land and Stone. And it sounds like they are going to support the project. But from staff's aspect and talking with Matt, we do want to try and get some residents and other businesses obviously involved in this if they want to. We talked about direct mailers to residents, talked about letters to businesses, and we talked about other types of ways that we could try and get businesses to donate while also giving them some recognition. And so these are just some very high level concepts that we thought of in the report. You can see we talked about plaques for picnic tables or benches or tree dedications. The disc golf hole sponsorship, which I think is one that we should definitely try to implement, whether it's a 3-year term, 5-year term, or just a permanent until the sign is faded to the point where we need a new sponsor. And then some type of mixed bundle of both. And so that would be like a business donation, and then we're looking at what do we do for residents who want to donate money. Me and Paula talked, maybe instead of having not necessarily a plaque of recognition or a recognition wall, we can keep it simple with a t-shirt or a polo or something like that, depending on how much you've donated. And if people really want to see their name on something, we can offer them the same picnic table or bench or a placard or something like that. So we just thought we'd get the idea out there to the board and kind of get your feedback on it. We touched on it a little bit, the Parks Committee, but we didn't get into too much detail. my only concern with pushing residents. And at this time is, and we talked about this too at the Parks Committee, we just went through a reval year, so everyone's seeing a huge spike in their assessed value. And I think a lot of people are gonna interpret that to mean more taxes. But we do have, we have some time to gather,
Which it does not, is what you mean to say.
which it does not necessarily mean your taxes are going up, correct? And so we were thinking, instead of spending, we got a quote for around like $2,900, I think it was, for if we did a 4,200 direct mailers on a half sheet of paper, two-sided. But we could just incorporate some type of letter in the tax bill, and that way, when they see their tax bill isn't going up, they might be more, they may want to consider donating. Also, my other concern with direct flyers like that, especially half sheets, is people toss them. When they see them and they toss them, as opposed to, you could send them an envelope with a formal letter, but then you're talking about a lot more money and a lot more staff time to do that, so.
Maybe less likely to get opened, right? I mean, a postcard, at least it's there and
You'll see
visible.
it, yeah, and maybe a letter is more of something formal we send to business owners as opposed to residents.
And the letter could maybe make more sense than the tax bill because you're sending a letter already. So
Correct, that would also be cheaper.
the postcards, I think you sent me, it was $2,352 was the number you sent me. I think the only thing that they're, I mean, if there would be benefits in advertising the June 20th Parks event, I mean, is there enough of a crossover there? Would we think our attendance would go up if we said, hey, here's what we're doing for the parks, here's, and then, by the way, come to our, June 20th,
At this point, I think that horse has left the barn or whatever, I think we're a little late on that to do that now. But I think being at the park, like Dan's planning at being at the festival with information about the park project. I think a letter in the tax bill, I do agree, because, I mean, I looked at my new number.
Yeah.
Something.
Just think about how happy you'll be when you get your tax bill.
Right.
really the way to look at that is in relation to the average. If you're went up higher than the average, yours is probably gonna go up, but if it went up lower than the average, it's probably not.
Right.
It all stayed the same.
And that's for Lisbon's
That's for
portion,
Lisbon.
right, so we don't know what the school's doing
There's
and
four other taxing
the
entities.
equalized stuff and all that concerns the heck
Yeah,
out
we
of
don't-
me.
Well, the county is pretty much limited to that new construction as well. It's the school districts that are this.
Well, there's gonna be a lot that might happen with that too, future, we don't know.
So
Anyway,
so I get in the postcard, and I know that there's not a lot of support for the postcards, but I guess what I'm sensitive to, and maybe that you've talked with Len and Stone afterwards to maybe dial back this concern, was that they were hopeful and expecting that we would make good faith efforts to really reach out to residents and do what we can there. So I don't want to just rely on stuff down the line. I didn't think $2,400 was a huge amount, but we very much could send out those postcards and not recoup that in revenue, but do we also have some other benefits would be the offsetting factor? I think we still have plenty of time. We've got, I mean, if they go out a week or two before if they hit mailboxes a week or two before the event, that might be ideal timing, actually.
I just think the timing in general might not be a good time to try and solicit funds, given gas is $4.80, a gallon, and just the economic climate that maybe we could, I mean, we have time. Like, we're talking about tax letters in December, we have time, so maybe we don't necessarily have to tie it to the event, but we can put something out there that, hey, we're working on a park project, we're gonna have somebody there to answer questions. And then just get the idea in people's heads that this is happening, and then see it hopefully.
I think something like that, if you split it up, if we do that, or we have a sign out at the event at the park, and then we do a mailer in August, and then your tax bill, you get 3 touch points. Hopefully things will calm down with gas by then, and
Or even if we do a postcard, but we wait until, 12 months from now. I mean, I still like the idea of tying it to the advertising for that. I mean, the Parks event was well attended last year and previous years, but I think, and is it increasing every year? I mean, but more advertising like that, I think could be even more helpful.
Yeah, I just, we just wanna spend the money wisely, I think
Mhm.
is it, $2,800 is a lot of money, no, but, I think the timing's really the issue.
Well, I mean, the other question is, do you think that the residents here are apt to donate money or not? I mean, is there a willingness to give for a parks project? Do you think that that's something that you'll get a positive response to? Or,
Have we ever
Some
tried
will,
something
some
like
won't.
this before?
I think if they can see their value in what they're giving towards,
Yeah,
I
a
mean-
picture's worth 1,000 words, I agree.
I think the days of buying a brick and
Yeah.
being part of a patio is
No.
I
not
agree.
today's standard, but I think if we can give a vision to the people and let them choose how they want to donate, rather than here's your $200 brick. I think that is more of a easing thing for people these days. Especially if they're looking for, the allocation of some legacy fund that they may have, and, it could be an ongoing thing too.
What is a legacy fund?
Like somebody has a fund that they want to bestow over a course of years to a community,
Oh, I think.
like
There you go.
a gift, an ongoing gift, a final wish gift, kind of something like that.
Everybody loves a party, anybody who donates can be invited to some big party at the park we put on.
I agree, I don't even necessarily like the picnic table bench thing unless it's more business driven, but
How many benches and plaques would we
Right.
have? 'Cause I figured we got 18 holes, so the max we could go is 45,000. For the disc golf. Are we selling, there's actual memberships to play disc golf?
No.
What's the?
well, I just by memberships, I meant sponsorships.
Oh, alright.
In my comment, I gave us Dan earlier was that the $2,500 for the whole sponsorship, I thought the 3-year term was too short. I mean, we got 18 holes. I don't think we're gonna get 18 $2,500 sponsors, but and have to change it over after 3 years. So you adjust that in your comments, that let's
Yeah.
just keep that more open-ended.
It should be a lifetime thing, I think. You did it to get it set up and go, right? We were looking for the one-time kick to get it set up.
Right, and then have a caveat that any maintenance to any type of, a lot of times. Like a golf hole will be sponsored by somebody and there'll be a plaque of that business there or on a bench or something like that, so. Maybe we pay for the first, sign, and then anything that needs to be maintained would be on
Oh, I see.
the business.
Yeah.
So they can keep it as long as they maintain it.
I think those other donation amounts look good, and the Lisbon logo T-shirt or polo, I don't know what the right amount is there, but if you guys think it's 100, that's
Well, if
fine with me. I don't.
it costs $7 to make a T-shirt, somebody gives us 10, I don't wanna do $3, wanna make it worth it, and that $7 is probably a low one.
What if
Yeah.
we just sold t-shirts? And then like any profit would go towards the
I
project.
could even put a lower one in, $50, you get a free, dump pass. Brush pickup pass, or whatever that is.
Let me offset that. We have to offset that. And then,
Get $40 then, but.
You get one free dumping. I'm gonna give away the whole.
We have to purchase the
Here.
membership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
How much? For Rob, you would know how much the Fairways memberships are, we could say donate 500. Buy a Fairways membership. For
Yeah.
Gotta make it seem like a deal, even though it's not a deal. I don't know, I'm completely open to what you guys wanna do, I just wanna make sure we're cognizant of the fact that. A lot of this stuff takes time, so it takes time to create a postcard.
Do we have branding on this whole thing? I mean, I know we have like the Lisbon logo, but I mean, we should really brand the whole parks renovation, like,
That's
so
the
it's.
logo, it'll be color and it'll look similar to
Like
the
with a
web- We'll
tree.
probably. Try to keep the postcard looking like our website, I think that's the best way to brand something is consistent, so.
I think
we're waiting on the postcard until next. We're not gonna do a postcard in 2026 is what I'm hearing from the board and staff. We'll revisit that at another point. So these are dollar amounts as you solicit donations, Dan needs feedback. These, we're fine with these. The only thing we need to address is the t-shirt polo. I mean, what we want to do there, what amounts and when we want to have them available.
I do kind of like the term limit on the goalposts, so you can switch different companies up, or companies go out of business, somebody's on out.
Yeah, you can
We're gonna have a lot. of
5 year or 10 year or
Yeah.
something like that.
It could be longer.
For 20, if the dollar amount's 2,500, I think it has to be at least 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. And I, we could have the t-shirts ready for the festival then, and that could be part of the table setup too.
I don't know about that. How to make a t-shirt.
What is it
Yes.
supposed to say?
Design.
I do.
Parks or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean,
But
you
keep it-
gotta brand it.
Keep it more, well, if you want, I think if someone wants it, I don't know, no.
But it wouldn't be, it would be like, the Lisbon Parks project.
Honestly, I can't guarantee t-shirts are gonna be ready by then. They tend to take a while, especially when you buy them in bulk. We used to do.
We can try.
Oh, I bet you Mid-City Sports could have them ready in a week.
You think so?
Absolutely. I've
Yeah,
done like
like
a
hats.
full load of stuff down there.
Yeah,
We can try.
that's all of it.
It's not embroidered though, because that's too expensive.
No, they'd be screen printed, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so you'll make something up and then we'll charge a
hold on, I
minimum
need to-
2 to 3 times what it costs, because it's a donation, I mean.
Selling shirts, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Sure.
no, they're for donations, they're not, it's a donation.
Okay, so it's like those. Okay. The party hats, if you give them $20, they'll give you a hat, right? Yeah. Like it for 100. I don't know, I don't wanna.
Well, we get-
Political,
we'll get
the
autographed
political
pictures.
party hats,
Yes.
those, they
Yes.
for the festivals and they say, give me $20, you get a cool hat.
So if this event, we'll have them here and we'll have them for general, I mean, pickup, but if we do have the poster board you're talking about here at the community fest. I mean, Dan said he'd man it for an hour or two, I would man it for an hour or two, so I know you're involved already, but if the rest of us would take a little bit of time at the table, that would,
Well, heck, we
Be
should
nice.
share then,
Well, we have to wear
all
them
the volunteers.
for $25.
Believe you're gonna get more out of me than that.
I actually think it's kind of a cool idea, if we can get them in time. Have fun,
And put on there, like, ask me how to get one.
Yeah.
ask me how to get this.
Scan my QR code.
Oh, no, don't do that, please.
I'll put that on.
Don't worry.
What?
Scan
Yes.
my QR code.
How
I've
would I
never
just-
been.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll try and get it designed, do we want them tie-dyed or do we want
Like,
them? It gotta be fun.
they gotta be, bright orange or
Yeah,
yellow,
that's-
something
okay.
obnoxious.
We'll find something cool.
wait, not the ones where you get for a donation, you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, the ones we're wearing.
the ones
Oh, okay,
Right.
so
Yeah, the QR codes go on the ones we're wearing.
June 20th.
so what do you want these t-shirts to look like, just a Lisbon logo?
I
I have a couple of ideas. I'll see what I
You
can
seem
do.
like you're excited about this.
If you say. they
I don't know
have-
how excited I am, but I can run with it.
This is gonna be chat GPT in this.
Do like a park and.
Wait till you see the one I pick out for you.
Spin off. Park and rec.
I'll see what I can come up with.
Like a tree with a, some,
Yeah, well, trees, kind of boring, but yeah. I don't know.
Where's Leslie Nope when we need her?
I'm more Ron fan than I am Leslie.
All right, let's keep going.
All right.
The question is, are we planning on using a professional solicitation or advisement for these donations? I mean,
No.
so that was something that we brought up at our staff meeting, if we get huge chunks of money, like in the millions.
Yeah.
From businesses and residents. Then Eric said we probably wanna have like a 501c3, like Friends of
Yes.
Lisbon Parks, solicit those donations. If we're talking about like, I kind of walked him through the sponsorship stuff and stuff like that, he didn't think that was really a big deal. As far as us receiving them, he did say that if you had a true parks committee that is established by like that's state statute parks committee, which ours is not, unfortunately, they could also take those donations. So the issue with starting a 501c3 is that you probably want it started by somebody not affiliated with the village. And so if we know anybody that's passionate about parks, but not affiliated with either the Parks Committee or the board, we could consider doing that. So otherwise, we can still take donations.
Or they're not tax deductible though unless it's 501(c)(3).
No, yeah, that's why you do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, technically, we are a nonprofit.
Well, I guess we would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason I say that is because then you can, like, if you do start a Friends of Lisbon Parks, then you can do solicitation outside of what we do.
Mhm.
I mean, there's companies that for a small percentage, they cold call just on behalf of your company, and
Right,
not that everybody loves telemarketers, but I mean, if people got a call for support of Lisbon Parks, they're like, well, I've never heard of it. You'd be surprised how these companies,
Ed Nelson volunteered to call.
these would be a professional company.
No, that's not.
well, maybe,
And so it doesn't cost you anything, it's just a percentage of, say it has $100 donation, they may take $10.
Mhm.
So, but it's also $90 earned by the 501(c)(3) that you don't have to put any
so they
effort
can
in.
be the annoying ones,
Yeah,
and then just take.
We'll still
Ah.
get calls.
like you'll hear, like one of the most common ones is they'll call with the, police officer and state trooper,
yeah.
or benevolent fund, whatever it is that they choose to, and you'd be surprised how many people actually donate.
Really?
Yeah, it is a thing.
I always get skeptical myself when somebody calls from an organization and go, can you trust us even though they say there is,
Exactly, that's what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
but the professional ones aren't your scammers.
yeah.
They have a professional
Some-
website to direct people to, they have a legitimate
Mhm,
tax certificate, it is, you'd be surprised, I
Mhm.
can talk offline with some agencies that I've worked with.
mhm, mhm.
Well, if we had some residents that were really passionate about this project, which I don't know, I'm hoping there's some people out there that will get passionate about it, they could start like the board, their separate board, and then they have to file a 501(c)(3) with the DOR. But then they could help with doing some of these fundraising events too. I just don't know that the
But-
word has been out enough that people are that passionate about it yet.
But then the money would go to them and then they would turn it over to us and then that,
Yeah.
but then that, I mean, then you have the concern of. The money not going, I mean, something happening to that money in
You have a
between.
donation agreement similar to what we had with like Junior Charter. Or like with Land and Stone, we're gonna have to have a donation agreement.
We're more concerned about, embezzlement or not, not making it,
That could be.
That's up to, that would be the board that has to make, as long as you guys spend it on what you wanna spend it on. then-
I'm worried about
I'm not-
it, if someone, if they, again, if.
That's worried about not controlling the money from start to
Yeah,
finish.
but I mean, I
Yeah.
can go start that tomorrow. You guys don't even know about it.
That's true.
Anybody can do that at any
Yeah.
time.
We'll have Mark put you in jail.
I'm just saying, somebody could already be doing it.
Well, it has to be, we want somebody that's vested in the project, that's
Yeah.
what I mean, that's somebody that's passionate about it, so like when they do a GoFundMe page or something, you can trust that they would rather the money from us than go to themselves.
Yeah.
Has anyone else approached the park, people about helping or anything like that when they hear anything? Nothing. Well, hopefully there will be somebody.
Well, that's why we're gonna have tie-dye t-shirts at the festival, so we'll see.
Well, then just make kid sizes if you're gonna do that.
Can we get a banner
I would.
for the part of the community fest that has like a architect's rendition of what we're planning?
Yes, we need.
I think that's,
Visual.
Yeah, we're having,
poster board
Yeah.
style stuff.
yeah, so there's a company out of Menominee Falls that Blake recommended that does poster board.
Yeah,
So I
something
called
enough
them
to
and they said they only need a week out, so I said I'll call on Thursday, depending on what you guys say, so if you're okay with me going forward with some bigger renderings of the park plans, I'll have those at the community.
That would be money well spent, I think. You gotta have people see it too.
Well, and we'll bring them back here, have them in the boardroom.
And make sure.
Let's use the next 18 months, I mean.
Yeah. Are the tie-dye shirts for us volunteering to explain them? Did you see the
She's all of.
Yeah, I like.
I haven't designed them yet.
I want a tie-dye polo.
You want one of those like
expensive ones, like.
Hey, can we get a Callaway ones?
Yeah, you can get the Travis Matthews.
Yeah.
Right, so on your memo, we're good with that, then if we can just run through the individual parks, I think we're pretty close to, I mean, we had a pretty good agreement last time around, I
Yeah.
think.
I think.
So if we give Blake, so is Blake getting back to you a little bit better now, or is he still kind of?
He's kind of waiting on us. We have to pull the trigger on going through to allow him to start working on the engineering and design of these. So he needs a scope from us.
All right, so I think we're close. So, okay, Lisbon Community Park, the one that, so I downsized the shelter from 10 picnic table size to 8. I think we want to stay with that, but can we have an alternative in there for like, we also get the bid for the 10? Because I think, Mike, you thought that we should stick with that larger size, and I think someone else did as well. Mark, you thought smaller made more sense. So can we stick with the smaller, but then if the numbers come in less and we have room to do the bigger and we think it makes sense, so it gives us flexibility?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Blake to see if he'd want to do it that way or the opposite, but yeah, either way, if we have flexibility, where we bid out bigger and if we need to go smaller, that kind of thing. But
And then the same thing on Lisbon Community Park with this is a question, I mean, on the lower level parking lot, we pulled that out. Do we want to just wait on that for 5+ years until if we ever do the pickleball courts down there, or do we think that there's more of a near-term need for that lower level parking lot and we should have that as an alternative as well?
I don't know, Mike, what do you think about that?
My suggestion with that one, because I feel there's some stormwater issues that could be resolved within that project. I don't think you want to do that first prior to putting a pickleball court where you may put, a ditch or something, because we have washouts that come down that hill because it's all on the bottom, and then it basically just runs off the parking lot down past the trail to the bug line where there's a swale. So I think it kind of needs to go more to the west where there's a natural retention pond.
So I understand the issue, but then, are you saying we should wait on that that additional parking lot until we also do the pickleball court?
I would hold off on the pickleball court, and because I think this would have to be done or at least looked at before you put a pickleball.
So I don't think we're planning on even considering a pickleball court at this point.
Paving, we could wait
Oh.
pave too.
Yeah, because I think, in my opinion, paving would.
Impervious surface makes water.
All right, so we're not gonna do anything with asking for that lower level parking lot then. Okay, that's fine. So we're gonna, only alternative we're looking for at Lisbon Community Park is the 2 different size shelters. Okay, we're good there. Lisbon Oaks Park, we said we're gonna go with the exact proposal that Blake provided us. We're still okay there?
Yes.
Lisbon Village Hall, Jane Stabler Park here. We dropped it down to that 396,000. The only thing that I think we wanted to also pull off was, if I heard us right, was we still had $5,000 for the volleyball court relocation. We want to just wait on that until we do the other stuff up here, right? There's no reason to move. I think, Dan, you said that. Right.
Yeah, I mean, we could wait on it. My only concern with that is you put bee problems with those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like.
But if you're relocating it, you're just gonna move the bees, right?
Or we can get rid of it. But I don't know how often that one's used.
Is it ever used, Mike?
Honestly, I think it's like little kids playing in it when they're.
Like a sandbox?
Yeah.
We can make a sandbox instead.
With the bees, so do we just, let's just eliminate, well, and
I mean-
back to the survey, we had people who wanted tennis, certainly pickleball, I didn't see anything about volleyball.
I mean, honestly, like the one at LCP gets used every once in a while, but there's one at Lisbon Oaks that almost never gets used, I would say. And then like this one is, I think he's just playing in it like a sandbox, like Dan said, but.
All right, so strip off that, when you give Blake direction what to do, strip off that $5,000 for the volleyball court relocation, and Mike, you and the Parks Committee can decide if we're going to get rid of it or just keep it as it is now for the next 5 years. Are we on the same page with that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I agree with that.
Keep in mind, if we get rid of it. I mean, would we want them to get rid of it? I don't know how easy it is. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to keep it.
Not hard, again, really just taking the sand out.
And then don't have it there, their grass.
Grass.
Alright, I'll tell them to keep it up.
I mean, if we're just gonna leave it up for 5 years, it's not hurting anything.
Yeah, so then just
I-
keep,
I would just-
Yeah, there's just the sand, the kids can play in this, make it a big sandbox then.
Exactly.
the Stony Hillquest Park, we dropped that down to that 57,000, which is really only just demoing and the parking lot work. Only question I had that I thought we should consider is, do we want to add in $24,000 for swings, or are we fine just keeping it as is?
How
And
much did we knock off of what we've done? Did we just cover the $23,000 for swing on that?
the only thing we knocked off was the 5,000 for the volleyball, right?
Then the parking lot, the down below parking.
Oh, no, we already had that knocked off. So, Mark, I thought that park doesn't really get used much, and should we just wait on that and see?
The Hillquest one?
The Stony Hillquest on Lisbon Road.
To Harleen, she said it's not used at all, hardly,
So let's,
in her opinion.
do you think we're gonna get pushed back if we don't have anything over there at all?
Here's-
Maybe we get a ball field and a parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're always gonna get someone I feel pushing back. I mean, I see people there every once in a while, usually like grandparents that are like watching their kids during the day. But it's not like any of the other parks where there's.
The only thing to consider, if you have a ball field there, you have little siblings of the kids playing ball, what are they gonna do?
That's what they said here, that's why we wanted that, yeah.
Right.
So can we have that as an alternative then? As an,
Swings?
yeah,
I mean,
One thing
what
I,
if we don't? Park at all and think about addressing it at a later time?
one thing I did think about is the impact that the County Highway K reconstruction project may potentially have down the road with that park is, I don't know if they're gonna allow us to have that ingress and egress on that highway.
Parking lot?
Correct. Because it's gonna be so close to that other street. I just don't know if when they put in a 4-lane highway, if that's gonna change.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have so many ingress egresses off that highway from all the houses that are there.
Right, but sometimes what they then do is they'll do shared access points, so.
Oh, that's right.
if we lose, I mean,
Well, I just don't wanna put, cause that parking lot's,
I mean, you would have almost no parking there. If they took that parking lot away, there's 8 spots, maybe.
but if they take it away, they do owe us compensation, so I mean.
yeah, then you're never gonna recoup what they're gonna give you.
Well, I mean, maybe that's to Matt's point then, that
Yeah.
do we really wanna do anything?
I don't know. I mean, I would say that the playground equipment over there is
It was-
aged beyond use.
It was demoing, it is what was gonna cost us, that's the largest in that,
Well, I mean, if that's
Budget.
the dangerous stuff, though, I think we have to get rid of it. That's also fair.
So I guess one of the thoughts I had was where where the play is right now
I'll put
could
it,
become additional parking, because there is
I'll quick give it.
a rush when you do use that park to get everybody into the neighborhood parking spots first. And then when you're a little bit late, you're dismayed to the fact that you can't park there, so then you have to go out of the subdivision and then come in on Highway K and then walk from the
Or
one.
the side street there, isn't there?
There's no parking.
we got complaints about that.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
So there's actually signage up at the park where like, says something about residential parking, and you're not supposed to park to the north of those 8 parking spots.
That guy to the north is, we're buddies. Help a lot.
Only parts here.
Yeah.
I remember talking to someone over there extensively years and years ago.
There's not really I mean, if they cut access to that parking lot. There's no way to get access to that parking lot anymore.
You would also have to put a road.
Right,
through
but
here to go. basically
then you've made a
park.
mortal enemy here, and then you're so close to the baseball diamond that.
Now, aren't they
That'll be on
close
the
to
county.
Sussex Park too over there though, in that new subdivision?
Yep, Rotary Park,
Yeah,
right, not Rotary,
No, not Rotary.
Armory.
Armory, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just north, but
That was to Mark's point earlier, was that they're so close that that's why we don't need much here.
Exactly.
We could tear the whole park down and put a village.
For what there?
No,
No, the Harvard Drive.
That field floods. But be careful.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I mean, and really this 57,000 that's still in the for Stony Hillquest, I mean. A lot of that seems to be high given what we have there, so.
I think we
What
should
were
think
y'all,
about
what were y'all planning on doing there? I don't have that sheet.
Well, it was, we planned 196,000, I think, and we had kind of like a nature type park where it blended in with the trees that were in there. And then we expanded the parking lot, or not expanded, but upgraded it so that they had the proper lines drawn, handicap accessibility, and then walking paths that were handicap accessible.
And how old is that playground equipment? We got a plastic slide there, perhaps.
I would say early 90s.
Really?
I mean, the one fire truck there, I found it was 1978 or
Oh my
79.
gosh.
So why don't, should that be removed?
Yeah. I was
That's
gonna
got a
say,
plastic slide. I didn't know they did plastic that part.
should maybe the equipment be removed?
That's what we have planned here is removing it as part of the project. So that's a big part of the,
Yeah.
I mean, is the, demolition is $8,000. I mean,
Gosh.
and we're hoping that some of this is done in-house. I mean, the demo, we'll see, but yes, demo's 8,000, and the earthwork related to that was 4,000. Mobilization, I mean, this is just Blake's numbers. He's got $8,000 in there, so that's why we think there's some fluff. The parking lot's 25,000. And then, planting some new trees and new grass, that's another 4,000.
No, what's you were talking before about when the 4-lane comes in there, but that's not gonna be for 4 years thereabout. And that's gonna be a 4-lane there, so is that gonna interfere with the parking lot if we spend money on it now?
Is
It's
this
a different
That's a
parking lot.
market.
Okay, yeah, I think it's a different, no, it's a different parking lot. I thought as well.
Part.
It's the parking lot on Plainview Drive, so that's not off. We weren't planning
Parkview?
on doing anything
Park-
with
Parkview.
There's parking spaces on
Parkview.
Parkview, but there's a parking lot on a separate tax parcel.
Okay.
That's it's like an acre and a half, acre and a quarter.
I think we need to deal with that parking lot after we hear from the county and what they're going to, I mean, they're gonna,
They might buy it. We'll see.
right, they're gonna, yeah.
But no, you said
So
that
then we
there's
shouldn't,
water.
we shouldn't do anything until we know for sure.
In the outfield.
Outfield of the baseball thing.
Okay.
No, no.
All right, so we're leaving that, we're gonna leave that one as it is at the $57,000, and we'll see what,
What happened?
yes.
Is the air on here?
yes,
So just adjust it. I think you're not the only one cold, so go ahead and turn it so it's not on.
Oh,
You're shivering.
I am.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I'm always cold.
Oh, I turned it on cool because it was 74 in here earlier.
Oh, really?
I can just turn it off for a bit.
Okay. Are you gonna get hot?
The 80 in the office.
No, I'm not calling you hot, I'm just saying.
Thanks, Linda. We are live.
Yeah.
Right, so our last park is the Stone Family Park. We have $850,000 in there. Blake has not responded with fine tuning that estimate, but we think that's pretty close. That's the original number. But then we expanded the shelter size from 2 picnic table capacity to 6. We're moving / expanding, I think it was more so expanding the parking lot and expanding or modifying the field fencing.
He did not get back to us on those options to relocate the parking lot.
Yeah, he gave us some mock drawings of what it would look like. I don't know if he gave us pricing though.
I think he might have on that, but then he didn't on the shelter.
Okay.
'Cause somehow we got like the $211,000 increase. I think we estimated the shelter, but he gave us,
I think
The parking lot
he
stuff.
gave us a little bit, didn't he give us a little bigger shelter too, and then expanded the parking? I thought that was smart. I'll touch base with him.
How many acres is that over there?
I mean, what?
How many acres is that Stony? Stone? What?
About 10 acres. I think it's like 9.7.
Did we ever hear from Sussex? They were gonna help pay for that little bump out?
We did.
Hurricane?
Yeah, I talked to Jeremy, he said they don't have anything in their budget for like 6 years. They're
Okay,
They've
no
just-
Sussex residents may use this park.
Little toll booth,
Huh?
toll booth.
Yeah.
they helped out with that or something,
no,
and then,
just-
yeah, and I just wanna make sure that we're not, you
Yeah.
know,
No. I know.
So. I think I think we're good with that, a larger shelter there, the parking lot expansion and the fencing changes. I don't think we need any other changes there, right? You were concerned about that one, are we good there?
No, I just wanted to make sure, I mean, that's our only park with access to sanitary.
Yeah,
I just wanna make sure we're maximizing. Using the building.
yeah, I think we talked to Blake and I think he had thought that the size that we proposed was good.
The 6 picnic table. Which is, I mean, the original one he proposed was only 2, so that's a lot larger. And
Right.
again, we're thinking that we're gonna, if we need to take this one down. In, 2 years, then that one effectively is the replacement for the east side of the town, of the village. So it will be a smaller replacement no matter what we do, because this is, I don't wanna say massive, but it's very large.
Yeah, but this one won't cost nearly as much because you don't have any restrooms. It's just an open air thing. So you could probably do that for like 50 or 60 grand. Not gonna be a
When we do it.
400, 500,000 also.
So then. I think we have enough information here to give to Blake to get going, but do we need, I mean, we talked about bathroom configurations, we talked about. Kitchens, we talked about, the countertops. That can come later, right?
Yeah, let them start the engineering designing. And honestly, I'm not gonna give them the green light to start that until we have proceeds in hand from above.
Sure,
Because we can't technically spend a bunch of money on it before we actually have those proceeds in hand.
but you can give it, my concern with him is that he seems to be a little bit, overbooked. You tell him that, hey, we are committed to moving forward this and have it on the calendar
I'll give
to
them the
start.
date,
You're
yeah,
right.
I'll give them the start date.
That way we're in the queue, we're ready to go.
So one thing that we talked about the Parks Committee, and I would like the board to consider, and maybe it's completely separate and paid for out of pocket by the village, but I think it would be nice to have a home run fence on that new baseball thing.
Which
Oh, what?
The new one, LCP.
I'm sorry, a new what?
Home run fence.
Like an outfield, defining where the outfield is, if you hit it over the fence, it's a home run.
Oh, I gotcha.
Permanent or
Yeah,
seasonal?
I think it would look a lot nicer. It would make, I don't know, it feels like it's an empty baseball field when there is none. And I think it could potentially down the road create revenue opportunities for sponsorships, or if we did like banners or something.
And about what would that cost?
I would estimate 15 to 20,000. You think more? All right, 20 to 25,000.
Well, if you wanna,
Somewhere.
put that into the next year's.
We could either put it in or we could do it separately. I was talking to Wendy about just our fund balance in general. I'd say I wanna go gung ho crazy on spending money, but I think it would be a nice addition. So we'll get some firm pricing on that, get some quotes, and then, we can talk about it, obviously,
I mean, Dan, if you and Mike and Paula agree, then bring it back to the.
bring it to the parks and see if
Yeah.
they wanna make a recommendation to the village board.
I mean, the concern there is that the park seems to be a little bit, Parks Committee seems to be a little bit anti.
They were fine, they seemed on board with it. I don't
But-
think
okay.
they had anything to do with it.
Menominee Falls has on their fence, especially like on Pilgrim Road, you'll see these big signs of these companies.
That's what he's talking about.
That's what you're talking
Yeah, that's a
about.
revenue source.
Yeah, okay.
So
I know-
it would
I
It
know-
usually takes a couple of years, but you make it back eventually.
You do, I mean, we did something in Delafield, we bought scoreboards, but then under the scoreboards, you had a sponsorship banner. And we charged $2,500 a year to have that on the scoreboard, so they paid for themselves in like 4 years. But that was along I-94, so it was probably more valuable real estate than Lake Byron, so. Let's see, but just an idea, and I just think it would really complete that baseball diamond, since we did put a lot of work into that, so.
Last thing on my list was the disc golf thing. Is that, are we gonna pass on that, or are
I
you?
talked to Sean today a little bit about it. Very conceptual, like, hey, you could do this or you could do that. He was more showing me the website where they have different leagues that you can have, but he was talking about like 3 to 5 test holes, not like a full tournament. So it would, if we did something more like try and get a hole in one, or see how, you know, the longest throw or something like that. So we could still do something like that.
But that, as a standalone event, that's probably, I mean, that's not gonna get people to come out to the
It's not
park.
like, yeah, it's not like a tournament that he was showing me on their website. You're not gonna get. And honestly, that they had some charitable tournaments for like donations, and I think 2 people had signed up and the tournament was like in 3 days. So I was thinking, I don't know, it may not be worth it. But we could host like a ribbon cutting ceremony for the baseball diamond, or do random beer garden events or something like that, but they have to be well advertised, and you need stuff for people to do when they're there. That might be something cool to do once we actually have the new equipment and playground there, that then you can showcase everything that you've done by having a beer garden at, or some type of event at maybe 2 of the parks that have redone.
Yeah, but I only park at the beer garden over there.
Have you gone?
Huh?
Have you gone?
I was there once a couple of years ago. I remember we were there for it. It was busy.
So like a Stone Family would be a really good place for a beer garden, I think, because you have people that can walk there. LCP, you could do it too. It would be kind of a fun, like, but that would have to be more of an event. As opposed to Stone Family, you could just have music and a beer vendor and have just neighborhood people come out.
We have like bags leagues too that play all over the place. You could have a big bag tournament.
Bags
We love
would
that
be
stuff.
good.
The county beer garden has a concession stand, so that's nice because they have food there and they have bathrooms and the lake.
Could bring in a food truck.
We do food trucks. Bring a couple of food.
Yeah, they have that barbecue place in Lanning comes there quite often.
Cause we did that for the grand opening of Stone Family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kinda rode on the coattails with Sussex and their Pines in the Park. So they just extended it another month and they did an event there. I mean, the weather was
Cold.
horrible, it rained and it was like
Right.
40 degrees, but
So no one showed up, or?
it was
No, it was
decent.
pretty packed.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
for the weather, I'd say it was good, but
But we could do
We did a ribbon cutting too.
Sure.
we could work with Sussex on doing a joint something too. And then say, well, if you don't wanna give us money for the parks, then you're gonna do this, and then everything we get goes to us.
I mean, it's
Since we
advert,
paid for
yeah.
everything.
I mean, that's makes some sense,
Figure it
right?
But I mean, that way you're mixing Sussex and Lisbon together, so maybe both communities.
Yeah, some people, like, the backyards effectively are overlook that park and they live in Sussex, so I mean, I've heard those people like that, yeah.
Interest with Sussex.
Are we good then? Is there anything, I mean, Dan, do you think you need any more, I mean,
No.
directions? So Blake's,
T-shirts, give Blake a starting time, potentially hats. I've got everything. I'll go through the list tomorrow and probably touch base with you, Matt, again on what we're snipping and what we're keeping, but I think we're in good shape.
okay, and I mean, you're really, 1 or 2 little things, but I mean, not much, I mean,
Yeah.
more from where we were at the last meeting.
Yeah, no, I think we did well.
All right. So we don't need any formal action then, or, because you'll get formal action from us at a later time to when we hire, like,
Yeah, I don't need formal.
all right, so 11, around 11B, which is determination of a class 2 co-location for AT&T on Lake 5 Road. You want to take B and,
Yep, I would actually like to take items B and C together, just as an intro and explanation. When you make motions, I would recommend that those motions are made separately, though. We do have the applicant, Matthew Fitzgibbon, is present on Zoom, and he has waited so very patiently. Thank you, Matthew.
sorry, we should have just kept on going for that last one. I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm intrigued by the park discussion. It was great.
It's interesting.
I've worked for 12 years as a city planner, so I know how that all works.
I don't.
So I would
Thank
note
you.
that these are both applications for, basically what they want to do is equipment swaps on existing towers. There is one on the Mary's Custom Storage property over on Lake 5 Road, and there is another on the Summit Horses and Hay property on Plainview Road. You do have staff reports as well as the application information for the determination. In Orin's staff reports, he has identified the 4 different criteria that one of those 4 criteria must be met in order for the village board to find that it would be a substantial modification. In each of Orin's 2 reports, he notes that the proposed modifications do not meet any of those item 1 through 4 criteria. So if you look on the final page of each of his staff reports, his recommendation is for a determination that the wireless telecommunication facility modification requests be found to be non-substantial, and he has recommended conditions. If the board does choose to move forward and make that determination, this will then go to Plan Commission in 2 weeks, and they will approve a site plan of operation amendment.
I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Any questions we can answer?
We're basically just doing 4G to 5G basically, and swapping them. from
Pretty
that.
much.
Yeah, but it's-
How tall are these again?
It won't add any height. It's just going, it, it's basically a swap out of equipment.
Okay.
I guess I'll do the first one. I'll make a motion to approve the co-location for the AT&T.
So it would be a determination that the modification request on Lake 5 Road is non-substantial, subject to planner's recommended conditions.
Sounds good.
Village board determines that the wireless telecommunication facility modification request for the AT&T property located at W 275 and 6725 Lake 5 Road to be non-substantial, subject to the following 4 conditions as presented in the staff review package.
Second.
All right, is there any additional discussion? Matthew, do you have anything to add?
I do not. Thank you for presenting it and on my behalf.
You bet.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Roll up the second one.
Item C, I'll make a motion that the Village of Lisbon Board determines that the wireless telecommunication facility modification request for the AT&T for the property located at N80W26020 Plainview Road to be non-substantial, subject to the following 4 conditions as presented in the staff package.
Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Right, motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you very much. And I'll look forward to the next meeting, which is Plan Commission, and I'll follow up with Dan and Elisa.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Right.
Yep. Those should be in the packets. Yeah.
All right.
wait.
Yes, so item 11D is discussion of necessary action on the award for the construction contract for the 2026 crack sealing program.
So Mitch sent his recommendation letter. These went out to bid. They both the crack seal and Tamarack Road came in under anticipated budget. So we also had an alternate bid for D Lane and Cordell Lane, which in total, the crack seal proposal was $60,625. And that would be the recommendation from staff.
What was the budgeted bid?
100.
Did Nick have any objections to the alternates?
No, he didn't. We're gonna talk about next year increasing that budget and trying to get a little bit more. Little bit more road, flex patch done. Depending on what happens with the borrow and what happens with, Lake 5 Road Bridge and that grant. And determining what we kind of do with that flex money as well, so. So yeah. And we can carry over the 40 grand that we are under budget, and kind of reserve it for road projects for next year too, so we can increase what we put in our, what do you call that? Drawing a blank.
The sinking fund?
Sinking fund. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason not to do the alternates.
I would agree.
I agree.
All right, so
I'll make a motion to approve, the construction contract board recommendation to Farner. Asphalt Series LLC from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. With a bid amount of $54,062.50. Plus 2 alternate A and alternate B. To a total price not to exceed $60,625.00.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item 11E, discussion and necessary action on the award for the construction contract for the 2026 Tamarack Road resurfacing.
So this was also put out to bid, April 22nd, and Payne and Dolan was the lowest bidder at $317,255. All bids were pretty competitive, but Payne and Dolan just came in the cheapest, and they've been kind of taking these bids for the last, I think, few years, so. That is the recommendation from staff, and we're looking for a motion from the board. This is under budget as well, and with including engineering costs, we're about 55 or 60 grand under budget on this one, so.
I did have a question on that. Are these locked guaranteed prices or are they subject to conditions?
There's a contingency, so I'm sure if, if there's something that comes up that they may increase by slight margins, but from what I understand, the price per unit is locked in, so it would only be if they have to use more asphalt for some reason for a certain.
Yeah,
like
I
cold
was
weather or something
more
like
concerned
that.
with current economic conditions.
These are locked in and they have contracts ready to be signed, so Compo said they're waiting on our approval and they're gonna get those contracts over us tomorrow.
I think the bigger concern is, this is called Tamarack Road for a reason. I mean, it's wet, sits right next to the, I mean, if we need to do more undercutting and dig deeper, that's where the volume of work maybe could increase if they run into something, right? I mean.
Potentially, but I mean, that's why we also paid engineering fees so that they would do the engineering design on this, so they can get these estimates close, so.
Okay. So item 21, there is traffic control and access. A relatively big number. What is that?
Might be more of a Mitch question, honestly. I mean, I can make up an answer, but I'm guessing it's probably a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, and I should have asked you a day or two ago, but
That's okay.
Somebody's standing there go, nope, stop, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
all these bids all these bids have, some are higher, some are lower. This is one that just is higher for Payne and Dolan, maybe because their contractors cost a little bit more money. But I mean, you can go through any of these and see some have higher bids than others, so.
so there's no way of addressing a single, like, hey, we don't. I don't know what exactly that is, but if we say we decided we don't want that or it's not needed, does it get reduced by that amount? I mean,
So, I mean, and if you look, really always is extremely low, but everyone else is within, one's 9250, one's 10 grand, so I mean, they're not far off from the other two. My question would more be why is always only 4,500?
I was wondering why Always has 11,000 on waterway diversion, drainage and dewatering. And everybody else is like half of that, or Payne and Dolan's only 3,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's even. You look at the price of culverts.
Yeah.
How is the same pipe 7,000 more for one company than the other? So, I mean, that's why they
Some
did it.
people can get them cheaper than others, so.
They're good.
I've talked to Mitch about this, and this is gonna start after school's out and then before school starts back up.
I
Is that-
haven't gone into starting times yet with him, so.
If that isn't written into the, if it's not written into what we had bid, it can only be a request, I guess, so that's. Request that, I think that's standard request, all right, I mean, is to do it during the summertime, and that way you don't disrupt the school bus routes and all that.
Yeah, typically, I think we always want our paving projects to be done by like the end of August at the latest, so.
Sure.
I don't know that any routes are gonna be affected by this.
Those bus routes that go up and down the whole street, right?
No, the elementary buses don't go north of the bend. Cause they come in off town line at Dubnica and do the whole subdivision and then come out the south end of Tamarack.
No, there's a family with elementary school students that come, and there's this family with a high school student that,
It might be a high school bus.
all right, anyways, well,
I GPS it every day. The elementary.
they just started that, huh? Well, it's about time.
So the recommendations for approval.
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 Tamarack Road resurfacing project, awarded to the lowest qualified bidder. Payne and Dolan Incorporated in the amount of $317,255.82, not to exceed.
I don't second it.
All right, I said this before, I'm gonna abstain because this is where I live, I don't love that this is happening the first year I'm on the board. I thought there was other roads that needed it maybe worse, but the experts said that this was the priority, so I respect them. I don't think this is a bad use of funds, I think it's great, but I wouldn't have prioritized it exactly the same way myself, so that's why I'm gonna just.
Truly, I was
Okay.
surprised it was Tamarack, because I didn't think it needed it such so bad either.
Oh, walk up and down anymore.
There's some bad
That's
stuff.
Up and down.
No, it's when you walk into the.
Does it go from Plainview Road over to Lisbon, or
No, this is just the bend,
Just north of.
just the bend?
just the bend to the north.
And that's,
I think there's more culvert work and more other work than there is
There's
on.
DNR
yeah.
permitting that went through it, there's culverts that need to be resized.
There's a Landing Creek there that this is going
that doesn't help.
over, right?
It's a bad road.
I see some aspects of it, and again, we need to make sure that they stay in the right of way, we had issues with this in the past, so. All right, any other discussion? I'm on the
You
record.
can't say that if you're abstaining. You gotta
I
abstain.
can't have any comments at
No.
all,
We don't-
but way past that,
You
didn't
don't have
I?
to listen.
All right, all those, if hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye,
I,
opposed say nay. Motion carries 4-0.
Done.
That shall be recorded in the.
yeah.
It shall.
I got it on my phone. Don't.
11F is discussion necessary action regarding the request of American Mobile Home Communities for consideration of a potential future connection to the Village of Lannon municipal water system.
So the owner of the mobile home park approached me a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. They want to extend water from Lannon to the mobile home park. They have some well failure issues and some contamination issues for PFAS. And so they requested that we would look into potential water extension either through Sussex or through Lannon. I had spoken with Ben Wood and we had a phone conversation with the owner, and, we thought the most cost effective, way to get water is to get it from Lannon. Because otherwise you'd have to go either bore under the railroad tracks or somehow get it across the railroad line. So we decided that a formal request should be made to the village to ask for our consent to allow them to work with Lannon on a potential water source. They are looking at a DNR grant that would fund a portion of this project, but if they don't get it, they are willing to fund the whole project. They would be direct customers with Lannon for their water supply. So the issue is that we as the community should be the ones that are working with Lannon, and then being paid by the American Mobile Home Park. So he has proposed a $5,000 retainer just to get the project started and so Ben Wood, who's doing our water project for Sussex, is also the land and engineer. So they would be working with him to start the project and see get the feasibility study done and see if this project would work. So I'm looking for approval to at least get that started, or they are looking for approval to get that started. And if Ben Wood runs out of funds for that $5,000 retainer, then we'll go back to Mobile Home Park and say, okay, we're getting more funds. Or at that point do a professional fees reimbursement where he can just pay us back for any costs that are incurred. We will have to then at some point, if it is feasible and they do get water to the mobile home park, discuss other connections along the way. I've already talked to the business or the owner or I think the real estate broker for the McLaughlin property. He wants that property to be on sewer and water, so he would welcome a water connection. And so then it would be just a handful of other properties that would be on that road. So right now we're just trying to get the ball rolling for a feasibility discussion between us and Lannon.
So in the future, if Lisbon ever got sewer and water over there, would we get our customer back, or would they be stuck on land forever?
Well, there's other things at play here regarding Sussex too. So Sussex is proposing to put up a well on Good Hope Road that would then go through Lisbon, and then connect to Lannon as like a secondary water source. And I won't get too into the weeds on that whole situation, but there's a potential for it to be a Sussex customer in the long-term future. We'll see. But it would be similar to when we get water from Sussex for the areas by the quarry operations that Landstone is working on. If we got our own water utility, that would be part of our water. So then we would own the mains, we'd own the mains. But that also then would have to be worked out when we discuss with Lannon negotiations on, similar to what we do with Sussex. Is there a price that we would have to pay then to buy back the main infrastructure?
Yeah.
Even though Lannon's not gonna pay for the cost of it, there's going to be an agreement where there's a dollar amount involved with us buying their assets, essentially.
Yeah, we probably want to have something like that in place before, so we don't.
Yeah,
get
it would
down the
be,
road.
it'd all be drafted by the attorneys. as
Yeah,
well.
that is a good point, Rob. I did have the same concern, and I brought it up too, to the utility, is we do have a potential to be a future servicer for this, and it would all be solved later on in the contract.
I think Lannon would, I would hope Lannon would want to do a full, scope of what their current system has as far as any issues that it has on or whether they have to put a whole new lateral system in or what, but I don't know that they would just say, here's water, hook it up, and then you guys deal with the mess, but I don't know. But we don't know until we ask, so that's where we're at right now.
All right, ready for a motion? Mark, you wanna?
I make a motion through the request from American Mobile Home Corp. American Mobile Home Communities for consideration of a potential future connection to the Village of Land municipal water system with a estimated $5,000 retainer.
Paid by, oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry. Paid by land. Paid by,
American
Mhm.
Home Community.
Motion's open.
I second,
All right,
with that improvement.
so and we can direct them, I mean, well, they'll sign an agreement that if it does go over that 5,000, that they'll be on the hook for it, obviously.
Yeah, we'll make things in place. There'll just be a retainer agreement.
Sure. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. All right, last item, we'll take this kind of together unless there's any thing that needs to be pulled off, but this is the annual committee, commissions and board appointments. I discussed these with the individual board members who are either the chair of the committee or with Rob on the plan commission. So Brian is willing to be reappointed to plan commission. Joe and I communicated as well. Mark communicated with Jane. Paula, you communicated with Marlene and Donette. And Board of Review. So Board of Review is the interesting one that we had some, I don't know, we scrambled to get the dates on the calendar for this year. Without getting everyone's on board that they can make it, so we ran into some issues with not everyone being able to make it, so we do need a new alternate, and that's where Ed Brocker was willing to step up and do the alternate 2 for the remainder of this term, so that's D2, and he'll be needed, or yeah, he'll be needed at that meeting in this coming June.
So we didn't have an alternate too?
No, that seat has been vacant.
Okay.
And do we have an alternate 1?
We do have an alternate one.
That's Joe Mintz now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Joe
Okay.
Mintzer, and
So-
he is planning on attending the
Okay, so
meeting.
Ed might not be needed at the end of the day,
If Nate can't make it,
Possibly.
then,
we have an alternate then,
Mhm.
right,
right, and Nate can't make it to the first meeting, and we're not sure if it's gonna go multiple dates or not. This is a revale year, so it certainly has that
It's
potential.
looking like we will possibly need the second date.
Really?
Do we have that second date picked out yet? though?
We do. And
I
if
can
we
never-
have it, yeah, it's the 9th.
The next day. Right, or is that the-
No,
It's the third,
6 days later.
Yeah, it's the third June.
Can that be communicated with everyone on the Board of Review to see if they're
Yep,
available?
We just don't know if we're gonna need it yet.
But if we don't have a quorum available, then we won't do it that day.
Right.
Okay, and then. Dan and I talked about the Lisbon Merton Joint Planning Committee and. Thought that Ryan made sense for that, to continue on that one as well, so. I don't think, is there any reason to take the strip on any, and then the last one is the Board of Zoning Appeals and
We have not, staff has not gotten any response to inquiries asking if he wants to be reappointed, so we're asking for no action on 12F.
so is there, like I said, we're looking for a motion to approve the appointments listed as under 12 A, B, C, D, and E.
I will make the motion to approve 12 A, B, C, D, and E, excluding F.
Alright, is there any additional discussion?
The only thing I would like to say is, Paul Normington, who has been on the Parks Committee for many, many years, is not coming back as a member. And I would just like it recognized that we appreciate his service and passion.
A nice letter from.
Yes, yeah, Elise is gonna take care of that.
Yep, we're working on it.
And you, my understanding was that he was recognized earlier tonight?
He didn't come to the meeting tonight,
Oh, he didn't, okay,
but we did put something in the minutes about it though.
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item 13 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All right, you got that. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
I got 8:31.
It's